When I am throwing on the wheel, I don't have anxiety. There's a focus and technique that I have to do, centering the clay and pulling up the walls and what I'm making. I can't think about what I've gone through or how my body feels or what's next. It's just me and the clay. And that has been really exciting because I haven't not had anxiety since before I was diagnosed with cancer. So, born and raised in Greenville, South Carolina. I went an hour away to go to Clemson for college, became a nurse there. Initially, I wanted to do oncology, and when I was in school, that's when I fell in love with working with moms and babies. I've, for the past 7 years, been a home visitor for first-time moms. It's a lot of education, connecting them to resources as needed, answering questions they have, and just supporting them through becoming a mom for the first time. And I do visits with them about every 2 weeks, starting during their pregnancy until their babies turn 2 years old. So 5 years ago, I was just living life as a typical 26-year-old, and one day I woke up and I had a feeling that I had cancer. Most of my life, I've been pretty healthy, and so waking up and having this feeling was really unusual for me. I didn't really have any symptoms other than fatigue, but called my primary care doctor and wanted her to kind of do a full workup, see if anything was wrong, and nothing was. About a year after that initial appointment, I started to notice that my hair was falling out. I was Googling, can cancer make your hair fall out? So that was still kind of in the back of my mind. So much so that I went back to the doctor and said, I want to run all of these tests again. I would like lab work. They ran the tests again, and again, everything came back as normal. I ended up a couple months later going to see my GYN. They ran hormone tests. Everything came back as normal, typical for that as well. And then a few months later was when things really started to take a turn. I started to have to use the restroom a lot. I started to have really bad acid reflux. The fatigue got 10 times worse. I also started to feel abdominal fullness and pain. But it took me probably a little bit longer than it should have to go back to the doctor because I had been so many times. When I finally went back to the doctor, she walked in and was like, "You need to go to the ER." That's when they discovered my watermelon-sized tumor. And that was what was pressing on my kidney and causing a lot of my symptoms. So I underwent surgery, and typically with tumors this size, they are usually benign, but it was during the surgery that they discovered that the tumor was cancerous. I had to have a second surgery, which was a full hysterectomy, and it was after that I was officially diagnosed with stage 3 endometrial cancer.
Endometrial cancer is the most common gynecologic malignancy in the United States. It accounts for 95% of uterine cancers. The endometrium is the lining of the uterus. And every month during your menstrual cycle, the lining of the uterus builds up. So in the event that you get pregnant, it's there to help support pregnancy. If you're not pregnant, that lining sheds in the form of your menses. The median age of endometrial cancer is between 60 and 63, and the most common signs and symptoms of endometrial cancer is irregular bleeding. That could be prolonged, heavy menses, or sometimes it could just be spotting. So in Casey's situation, it was really difficult to think about endometrial cancer because she was so young.
The fact that I was 28 years old when I was diagnosed was really unusual. I have no family history of any gynecologic cancers, and also the fact that I have always had irregular periods, and so that wasn't anything that was a red flag for me.
It's very common for young patients to have irregular menses that are related to many other things. So I think it teaches us all that we have to really pay attention to any kind of irregular bleeding, regardless of age.
Initially, after I was diagnosed, there was a moment of relief because I had felt so bad for so long. But, continuously going to the doctor for years and being told nothing was wrong when I was trying my best to find answers, it was incredibly frustrating.
If you're a patient and you think there's something wrong with you and you're not getting answers and your doctor is not able to tell you why you're feeling the way you do, I think it's so important to advocate for yourself. You always have the right to seek a second opinion. You have the right to question your doctor and ask them, are there any other tests? Is there anything we're forgetting? Most endometrial cancers are diagnosed at an early stage and are treated with just a hysterectomy. But because Casey's cancer was diagnosed at an advanced stage, she needed additional treatments, including chemotherapy and radiation, which could have been avoided had this been picked up earlier.
For me, having the hysterectomy was the worst part of all of this. I was 28 years old and I was sent into surgical menopause at that time, which is essentially like being thrown off a cliff. Everything happened all of a sudden. I experienced hot flashes, of course, but I also experienced the emotional kind of dysregulation that can come with menopause. I cried for about a week straight after I had my hysterectomy. I felt things that I had never felt before, sadness that I had never felt before. It was a pretty dark time for me. My support system was great. I think they did everything that they could, knew how to do to support me, but there was still a lot of times where I felt very isolated and very other. I mean, typically people my age are worried about getting married, having children, buying a home, but my biggest concerns were whether or not my scans were going to be clear. I never expected to gain a following or have anyone watch my videos. I initially started posting just to kind of put my story out there and just sort of shout into the void. Hi, my name is Casey.
Hi, my name is Casey. Hi, my name is Casey.
Hi, my name is Casey.
Get ready with me to go to my hysterectomy party.
My first video that I posted was myself getting ready for my hysterectomy party.
Now, if you're thinking, Casey, wow, you look too young to be having your uterus removed. It's because I am.
My friends and I threw a party to say goodbye to my uterus. I think it was sort of so outlandish. That post definitely reached more people than I thought that it would. And as I posted more and more videos, this community really started to build.
Here she is in her shaved head glory.
I didn't see anyone talking about endometrial cancer on social media. There was a lot of information about other cancers. So I felt it was really important to tell others the symptoms that I was having before I was diagnosed. And I also really wanted to share with people that they need to follow their instincts, that it's important to trust yourself. So it became a place where I was able to help others. It was really cool because I had people from all over the world reaching out, sharing that they were going through something similar or their mom was going through something similar. People who would want to catch up with me, ask me how I was doing, and who were kind of watching me as I was going through my treatment journey. So I've continued my work as a nurse. I still get to help my clients, and this is another way of helping people. I get to educate and inform people on my personal journey and what I've gone through. Hi, my name is Casey, and at 28 years old, I was diagnosed with stage 3 endometrial cancer, and I'm coming up on my 2-year chemoversary. I finished radiation in October of 2023, and in October of 2025 will be my 2-year post-treatment anniversary, and at that point is when my chance of recurrence decreases, which is really exciting.
Guys, we have reached a milestone in my post-cancer hair growth journey. Could it be that my hair is up in a ponytail?
I'm continually a work in progress. After I finished treatment, I was really angry and upset at the world and sad. But I had a friend who passed from stage 3 endometrial cancer, and that really lit a fire in me. It made me realize that I only have one life to live, and I've gone through this journey and made it to the other side to try and live my life as fully as possible, to do the things that I want to do, accomplish the goals that I have. Pottery was something I'd always been interested in. So I signed up for a pottery basics course and I loved it so much that I took the second version of that. And then now I have a studio membership. Hey, how are you? Thanks, you too. The isolation that I felt when I was going through treatment is getting better. It's definitely still there. I still feel other a lot of times, but as I heal and move forward and cancer becomes further in my rear view, I start to feel it less and less. Let's do a kiln haul. This is very niche, I know. So like if you normally see my cancer stuff, just keep moving along. Or if you're interested in pottery, please watch. I hope to continue to make videos for as long as possible. This little planter, she already has a plant. Cancer didn't end because I finished treatment. There's still a lot that I'm going through and dealing with because of it. And so I want to continue to educate people on that as well. I learned that I was a lot stronger than I thought I was through this journey. I felt like I was forged in fire, honestly. And then this, which I think is so cute. As I look ahead and think about my future, I really want to continue being able to empower women to advocate for themselves because they know their bodies best. And so that's why I've teamed up with GSK and Our Way Forward, which offers resources, personal stories like mine, and tools to help people navigate their experiences, whether they're living with gynecologic cancer, caring for someone who is, or working in healthcare. I'm trying to make lemonade out of lemons, I guess. And if sharing my story helps someone else, then I didn't go through this for nothing.